I just dropped today's agenda in the chat. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat with your name and your organization. We're going to give it one more minute and get started. All right. Okay. Get my team. Welcome, everyone. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Heaven Jordan. And today we are joined by Montgomery County Food Council. This is our joint call. Sometimes we have these, and we are so glad to have them co-hosting today with us. For those that may not know me, my name is Heaven Jordan, and I work for the Prince George's County Food Equity Council. And we are a local food policy council that helps residents grow, sell, and choose healthy foods. We've been doing these calls since 2020, since the pandemic, to help kind of organize and resource share amongst food assistance providers. I'm going to pass it over to Anne Marie to introduce herself.
Sorry, good afternoon. My name is Anne Marie Hart Bookbinder. I'm the Food Security Programs Manager at the Montgomery County Food Council. Food Council serves as the primary connecting point for food assistance providers in Montgomery County and really all food systems issues in the county. And I'm so glad to see so many participants here today from Montgomery County who may not normally be able to make our regularly scheduled calls. I'm so glad to see that this time worked for you. Great to see you all here today. And I am going to be sharing in the chat as we move on just two quick updates from the Food Council. One is that since our previous call, we have the strategic plan to end childhood hunger has been released in Montgomery County. So I will share a link for that. And if those of you who are already registered for our usual calls, you'll see I'm trying to play around in Zoom with updating the link for our next meeting, which is going to be in November, on November 11th. And I will share more details on that in the future, but just wanted to keep you posted on all of those good things coming up. Thanks so much.
Very exciting. And I don't know if Julia, did you want to say hi to folks? I will be kind of leading this call today, but just wanted to see if you wanted to say hi.
Sure, I'll say hi. Good to see everyone. Some old faces, some new faces. I'm Julia Grenfeld. I'm a program manager with the Prince George's County Food Equity Council. I sometimes lead these calls, and today I am behind the scenes while Heaven is facilitating. So nice to be here.
Great. So a little housekeeping. Please continue introducing yourself in the chat with your name and organization. We just want to see who's in the room. And then also, if you're not speaking, keep yourself on mute. And then finally, we will have Q&A after each speaker, so feel free to drop those questions in the chat or ask them verbally once we open up the floor for questions. And if you have missed any of our calls, our previous calls, they are also linked in our agenda, so take a peek at that. Now I'm just gonna introduce our very first speaker, Aisha Holmes from No Kid Hungry. Aisha, are you ready?
Hi, everybody. Good to see so many faces. I'm excited. I am probably going to be your quickest speaker today. I just wanted to come and join you all and share some good news from the USDA. And I'm going to put some information in the chat related to the summer programs that USDA is expanding this year. So first of all, as most folks know, especially here, summer is the hungriest time of the year for our children. And so it is very exciting to see that the Biden administration's USDA has taken this on, and with the support of Congress. This was all passed these bills that I'm going to share were all passed last year in the massive omnibus, and thank goodness they got through. And so we are excited this year to be thinking about it. Last year, the USDA opened up what is known as rural non-congregate options. And so what that did, especially for our very rural communities, and neither Montgomery nor PG, unfortunately, were considered in that. They had a very strict guideline, and so a couple of counties benefited from that, especially Garrett and Caroline County and Dorchester. That allowed us to expand what was the definition of non-congregate. And so we were excited to roll that out last year. This year, nutrition programs are expanding again, and non-congregate will still expand. We are hoping that the State Department of Education will put in a modified map for the state of Maryland, which will allow for our definition of non-congregate not to be governed by the USDA map. So we are encouraging our State Department of Education to put in what we believe is rural as a state. And if you have thoughts around that, you should probably just talk to your local FNS directors and they can hear what you think. It is a very tight map. The second one, which is the big deal this year, is called Summer EBT. I am pretty sure everyone would be familiar with PEBT. Anyone not familiar? So basically what we learned from PEBT is that it helped more children be less food insecure. We didn't solve food insecurity, but it helped. It helped a lot. And so what Summer EBT actually does is make it permanent. And that is amazing. So there are a few policy differences around summer EBT than pandemic EBT, and they're very important. And we're going to need a lot of help to get as many children as possible enrolled. As you may know, if a child is in enrolled for free and reduced meals, they're automatically certified for summer EBT. In addition to that, if the family is receiving SNAP benefits, they are automatically enrolled in summer EBT. If the family, or if the child, is on Medicaid, again, automatically enrolled. However, there are a lot of children who are not enrolled in any, but could be eligible under the financial guidelines. And what we are encouraging folks to do is to reach out to your families that you work with. And if they are not enrolled and you believe they might be eligible, work with them to get them enrolled in one or the other of that. The school forms, especially in CEP schools, are vital. All students in CEP schools are not automatically enrolled. And so, especially in those schools, We absolutely, and it's CEP is community eligibility provision. I didn't realize I just snuck that in. And so especially in those schools, we're going to need to have some targeted focus to ensure that families that are in CEP schools are filling out. Just because you're there does not mean you're automatically going to get it. Okay, so either you're going to fit in through a direct certification program, or you're going to have to fill out a farms form. So we need to get those forms filled out. Now is a good time. We will be doing a large awareness campaign in January and February to make sure that no one gets missed. So keep your eye out for that. I've already had a conversation with Medicaid, and they are doing outreach to see if there's any kids that were automatically dropped off at the end of the pandemic stimulus money. They're reaching out. But if you know families who might still be eligible for Medicaid and MCHIP, please make sure that you're kind of helping them re-enroll. So those are my kind of really high level things. We are still waiting for final guidance to come through from USDA about summer EBT. That will happen before the end of the year. And in January, we will be, that's why we're waiting to send out our guidance also. The other thing, the state is going to apply. The governor is going to be asked to bring in a 50% administrative match, which for the state of Maryland, I don't think it's an unmanageable amount. I think it's under 3 million, which when all is said and done, that's going to come back in groceries anyway into the economy. So we believe that it is a good investment in the economics of Maryland, as well as in the families and children to be part of this program for our state. So it is our hope that the governor will be a supportive partner in this. I have not heard that they won't. So I have talked to a lot of agencies. So that's all good news, I think. And I just wanted to kind of put it on people's radars. I will be back in January with details of how we can do what we need to do. But right now, if you know of families who might be eligible for SNAP, WIC, I'm sorry, not WIC, this is for school-age children only, but for SNAP and Medicaid or free and reduced meals that they have not filled out the form, help them get it done. That would be my kind of call to action for folks today. That's it.
Great, Aisha. We have one question in the chat is, how do we determine if a school is a CEP school?
Sure. So community eligibility schools are throughout both of your counties, and each of them are, all of that is listed on the MSDE website under food and nutrition. You can look it up there. If you just Google MSDE CEP schools, you'll get taken to the website.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more questions before Aisha has to go? Hearing none. Okay.
All right. See you in January.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. All right. Next we have the folks from the Capital Area Food Bank. So we have Catherine Ross, who is our school-based programs, is a manager of school-based programs, Zira Collier, youth nutrition coordinator, and Lexi Smith, the youth nutrition coordinator, all working at the Capital Area Food Bank. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, Thanks, Heaven. We are. I'm Kate, and I'm here with my team, Jaira and Lexi. Jaira focuses on Montgomery County Public Schools based programs, and Lexi focuses on Prince George's County Public Schools based programs. So I'm going to share my screen. We put together just a few really brief slides. Please don't anybody think we're going to keep you here for an extra hour just because we have slides. It will be very fast. Just to share a little bit about, what we do and, how we form and really maintain successful partnerships with our groups. Okay, so Lexi, are you ready to kick us off?
Yeah, like Kate mentioned, I'm Lexi. I work with the PG County schools and school-based programs. And today we're just going to talk about our school-based programs and how our partnerships work, and hopefully you guys learn some new information. So our first program out of two that we have for school-based programs is the Family Market Program. It's a no-cost program that aims to empower families and alleviate hunger throughout DC and Maryland and Virginia, so more the DMV. It's a monthly market style distribution, and we focus heavily on client choice. So we want it to kind of feel like a farmer's market or a shopping experience more so than a pantry or food bank. So we do same day delivery and distribution, and it's 75% produce and about 25% shelf stable. And families get to take home 30 pounds of food about. So it's a great opportunity for involvement of other community resources. Sometimes schools will have tables set up with other opportunities they have for their families there, maybe backpack giveaways or back to school things, or really anything that they have to offer. And this will be in 74 schools by the end of the 2023 school year, including 20 in MCPS and 21 in PGCPS. And then we'll be in 32 MCPS schools and 33 PGCPS schools by the end of school year in 2024. And this is just an example of what a family market menu may look like. Each month it can be different. We all get together the month before and decide on the menu, and we try to do things that are seasonally relevant and culturally relevant. So this would just be an example. The quantities are about how many per household we would suggest that families take home, but we know there's different family sizes and different needs, so it's purely a suggestion to help right size how much we send to school. So when it comes to the Maryland family market data in last school year, 2022 and 2023, you can see Montgomery County did really well. There's the data for the total households served, total children, and total pounds across 20 schools. And then for Prince George's County, we also did really great. We had a lot of schools that started later in the school year, so that can also reflect some of the difference in data. We have the same thing for PG County across 21 schools. I don't know, Kate, if you wanted to chime in at all about the interpretation of the data any more than I said, or.
Yeah, I think just to add on to your point that last year we did have a pretty massive expansion in our programming, and we trickled those new schools out throughout the school year. We didn't bring every new school on right in the fall. So when you see the kind of those household numbers and why it looks like there's like a decent difference between Montgomery County and Prince George's County, even though it's about the same number of schools, that's a big part of it. But once a school does come on board with us one year, again, they may start a little later, but then if they do want to remain a partner, they'll start the next year in the fall with everybody else. We also see that, as with, events that can close schools, if we have snow days or weather events, or for whatever reason, a school needs to cancel their market that month and we're not able to reschedule it, that does affect the overall data, because instead of a school having, a market every month, they may miss one. So those are just, when we think about these numbers, just still different ways to interpret it. So this is something that we wanted to include just as kind of a snapshot of self-reported SNAP enrollment. So we get these numbers from looking at how many households attend throughout the year, and then how many of those self-reported that they receive SNAP. And I just find these really interesting because obviously we know that just because somebody isn't reporting that they receive SNAP doesn't mean they don't. This is not a required question. And we also know that there may be multiple reasons why somebody either is not eligible or they're not enrolled because they don't know they're eligible, or they don't know, the process, and they need support with that. So we look at these and we do share these with some of our staff contacts as well to kind of get a sense of, is the need that we're seeing, does that match the SNAP percentage? Is there an area where we could do additional SNAP education? Or, we at the food bank don't do that, but with our collaborators, is there, a specific area that we need to target? So for example, we know that Wheaton Woods, they tend to serve around 300 or more households every single month. That's a pretty low SNAP percentage. So does that really accurately reflect their population? So again, I just felt that these were, interesting, and we as a team look at these numbers and talk about it. So we did want to share those with you all today. So we have them for Montgomery County and Prince George's County. And you'll even see there's some that's 0% reported, and that doesn't necessarily mean there is 0% need or 0% families that are enrolled in SNAP. So another reason we wanted to pop this up here is, oftentimes we're asked, oh, well, do you go by, SNAP enrollment? Is that where you choose to put your programs? And no, because again, when we interpret this, it's not necessarily a, full reflection of the need within the area, but it is something that we try to use to potentially help going forward. And Lexi, thank you for sharing information about the family markets with us, with the group. Our other program is School Pantry. And this really kicked off last year. 2 school years ago, we had started as a pilot in 3 schools in Prince George's County, and then we expanded to schools in Montgomery County and expanded further in Prince George's County this past school year. So it is a no-cost program. The hope is that it lives and breathes within the school. It provides a stable resource, as opposed to the family market, which is an amazing program. It's once a month. You get a large level of food once a month. With the pantry, it is there for you. We ask schools to be open a minimum of 2 times a week. It's also a client choice model. You'll see a picture here of what part of what one pantry could look like. To start pantries off when they join us, we do provide storage supplies for them as well, shelves, bins, a hand cart, items that help them get set up and running. Schools can have 1 to 2 deliveries a month. This is entirely school dependent. Some schools need and utilize both those delivery opportunities. Some stock up on 1 and they're good. And some, if they're having like a slower month, or maybe there's been a holiday, you have a week off of school, you're not seeing as much turnout in your pantry, then you would request 1. But we set those scheduled ahead of time with schools so they know what to expect, and they are aware that there are those 2 deliveries if they need them. Again, this is also client choice. Families take home what they need when they need it. And we had this program in 48 schools across the DMV at the end of this past school year. 15 of those were in MCPS and 18 were in Prince George's County Public Schools. We are doing a smaller expansion of this program this year. We are adding 5 more in MCPS. This is another sample menu, like Lexi shared with our sample family market menu. The majority of food in school pantries is shelf stable. A handful of schools do have dedicated refrigeration, and we send them really small scale produce, but that only accounts for about 10 to 15% of their inventory. The bulk and the focus are those really like shelf stable basic items. So again, this is a sample menu with approximate quantities that we would recommend per household visit. But if a family were to come 2-3 times a week, they could take, 2 bags of rice every single time, or they could take more or less in a single time, based on, kind of the guidance from the school itself and what they need. As Lexi said, this is just a starting point for us. We do need some kind of parameters to source food and place orders in, but we do let schools know that it's really up to you, how much your families do take home per visit, per trip to the pantry. This is, again, just a starting point. And as far as the produce, we do not recommend quantities for produce for pantries because obviously produce is perishable. And if you are going to be storing it and keeping it for a period of time, the focus is to get it out. Same thing with the SNAP numbers. We just wanted to provide the self-reported SNAP enrollment. It's an interesting data point when we think about these programs and who they're serving and maybe the additional kind of support some of these families may need. Again, this is all from last year. And I apologize, mixed up the slides there, but there is the Prince George's County numbers as well. And again, we see that some it's not available or less than 1. We can be pretty confident that that's not accurate, that there are more families that are enrolled in SNAP or would be eligible for SNAP. And again, it's all self-reported. So Jaira, if you're ready, she's going to jump in with just kind of some best practices and lessons learned and, how we form a successful partnership. And I want to share with everyone here that so Jaira's background before working at the food bank, she did work at a school in DC that had a family market. So she ran that. So she, from the school end, has experience in running family markets and really knows what it takes for a school to put it on, which gives her a really unique perspective coming to our end, coordinating it.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. And the best practices for, one, finding the right location, finding a site coordinator, and dedicating a point of contact. These are very important because schools are very busy places, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have, like the algebra teacher to run the market or pantry when they have other responsibilities. So in Montgomery County, there is a community liaison, and that is an amazing, role to put in charge of this program. So next, setting clear boundaries and expectations with the partnerships up front. We let them know with a partner contract. Here are your roles and responsibilities. Clear and consistent communication. Sometimes it can result in, like, if there is poor communication, a person might might be my noise. So again, just the clear expectations, letting them know, here are your days, expected times for delivery, because many schools have this. So let's say 3 schools want Monday deliveries, and someone sends in their forms late. We might not be able to accommodate their first choice. So when things are sent in on time and everyone does what they need to do, the program runs smoothly. And so each year there is a training. We offer times during the workday, and then an extra one after hours to accommodate everyone's schedule. And so we just want to refresh the contract for our protocol and make sure everyone knows what they need to do. And the last thing, sorry, a message popped up. So what other than food can you provide for sites? Sometimes there can be things like toothbrushes, donated goods like soaps, dishwasher fluid, or toiletries, toilet paper, and things like that.
Yeah,
Next
and I'll
slide, please.
jump in and say that while we don't often have those materials here at the food bank, we do primarily work in food. When we do have them, we try to prioritize getting those other items out to our site partners. And then supplies, we had mentioned that earlier, helping pantries get started with supplies. And then any branded materials, if we have aprons or tablecloths that we can give to schools to kind of just like enhance the space and show that we are partners in this effort, even though schools are doing most of the work on the ground. We want to be able to do that. So, if anyone's ever thinking, how can I have a program like this in my organization? How can I kind of implement something like this? Whatever you are able to help, those like small things, again, like the tablecloth or the apron that seems so little, if you're able to provide that or give that little extra supply, it just enhances the whole, experience.
Thank you. And so another thing is creating a community. We have peer visits, peer support, and they all share ideas. One new market asks, like, can I attend other markets to see how they run things, how they track their data? And I was like, of course. I gave her the location of the school, the dates and times, and emails to like let the other site coordinator know, all right, I want to stop through. And that is a great thing because we need to build community. And sometimes a person might come up with their own idea, and it's amazing to share that with others. The next thing is program promotion. We encourage people to, our participants rather, to develop their flyers. We give an example. However, it is up to them to communicate to their community in the best way. Many times, like, wording or language is very important. Sometimes, due to stigma, a person might not want to attend something that says free food. So one school sent us a flyer example that said like grab and go groceries. That is amazing. It offers more than one mode of communication and just an excellent way to market to their needs. So the next thing is site visits have like nutrition educational materials, cooking demos, and are permitted to include other resources that the community might need. For instance, SNAP benefits, or a resource where people can sign up and learn more about other community resources to create a food hub instead of just giving people food for today. We give resources for tomorrow. And the last thing, sites and partners own these programs with certain parameters, but they are still expected to comply to the capital area food bank requirements.
Thanks, Jaira. Yeah, just like really important overall, these last couple of slides, it really is about that partnership. Again, as Jaira ended with, we do have, our sites and partners. There are some parameters that need to be met, as far as data collection and, how often you're making your resource available to families, but how these programs are implemented and look school to school, partner to partner can be totally different. And that's something that we try to support our school partners with by, as Jaira mentioned, helping them create a community. I know, shout out to CPS Community School Liaisons. They have an amazing cohort and they support each other so much. They go to each other's distributions and events. They help each other get started. So, we can try to connect that, but when you have your own community or you're able to build it outside of the food bank or outside of whatever organization is supplying you food, it's really helpful. So yeah, thank you all. And I know that after Priya from Manna speaks, we have a special guest, Ramona Johnson, who is a community school liaison at Crest Haven Elementary School. And she is joining us today, again, I believe on the agenda after Priya speaks, to talk about her school pantry. So just want to let everyone know she was one of our very first MCPS pantries, and she's done an amazing job. And I'm excited that you all get to hear from her today on, how she runs this program.
Thank you so much. Do you mind going back to that slide so I can speak a little bit about that? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramona Johnson. As Kate mentioned, I do work at Crest Haven Elementary within Montgomery County Public Schools. We are 3 to 5 elementary school, and this is a picture of our pantry. Our partnership has just been just a wonderful experience, and it's happened so organically. First of all, you need leadership that has the same view as that wants to help our community. So my principal was nice enough to give us an entire portable. So if you see this picture, the ladies that are opening boxes are our parents. So I have empowered our parents to really run the pantry. They are the ones that receive the merchandise. They stock everything, and they are the ones that actually greet the other parents. So I've tried to create a self-sustaining, because we're not always going to be here, but we do want this partnership to last forever, or as long as funding allows. So parents, number one, parents, it is a parent-ran pantry. 2, we have a wonderful partnership with the National Food Bank. They gave us the shelves, they gave us the boxes, they give us the food. So every 2 weeks we receive an email. As soon as I get that email, I make sure that I complete it, because they have staples items that are very popular. So in our community, we masa and beans and milk. They're very popular. So it's our responsibility as the coordinators to actually ensure that our parents or our clientele receive the food that they find the most popular ones. The parents give us feedback as to what they would like us to order. I don't know. It's just been a wonderful experience. Data is very important. So just in order for them to continue to give us what we need, we need to provide that data in a timely manner, because again, it's still a nonprofit. So I can't stress enough how important it is for us to build community, just build community, not only with our parents or families, but also with our partners. Anything else, Kate? Am I missing something?
I think unless we have questions, I'm sorry, all when I was screen sharing, I haven't kept up with the chat. Were there any questions that I missed?
Yes, we have 3 questions
Okay.
from Shannon. The first one is, how are these food materials being sent home to the individuals receiving? And do you provide packaging bags for transport?
Yep, so our drivers deliver to the schools, and then from there, it is unpacked and set up by school-based staff, such as Ramona, and then whatever team of volunteers they've accumulated. We last year provided reusable bags. To be transparent, we had a very specific grant that allowed us to buy those and provide those. So we would send those to schools, and we would let our schools know, please remind your families to bring these back week to week, month to month. So we provided those last year. We are not providing them this year. We do have plastic bags that we send on an as needed basis. We try not to do that regularly because they're plastic bags. And what we also do is encourage, again, our schools to communicate with families to either bring back the bag they've already received, bring other bags. We have some schools that do reusable bag drives, which I know sounds really silly, but think about like your house and how you've got that bag that has like 18 reusable bags in it and you use the same 3 all the time. So having their staff bring in bags, and then another fun way around this, if a family does not bring a bag and you are all out of reusable or plastic bags, keep some of your cardboard boxes, especially for the family market where the food is really heavy and there's a lot of it. It looks like the next question, when evaluating SNAP percentage. So we take that from the total households that have attended. Every program collects data throughout the year, and then we compare that with the self-reported, if a family will be asked, do you or someone in your household receive SNAP benefits? And they will say yes or no. Again, it is self-reported. Families are instructed that if they're not comfortable answering, they do not have to. We try to make clear that these programs are low barrier. We're not going to ask for any kind of proof of income, lack of income, any other government benefits, but it's still an uncomfortable question. So if a family declines to answer, that is marked as a no. So again, this is saved not only with our school-based programs, but we have this with all distributions throughout the food bank. We work with other nonprofit organizations, not the 3 of us here speaking, but other members of the food bank. We work with senior-based organizations, and that question is asked across the board. And then our data team, they take that information and they analyze it to try to find kind of hot spots throughout the DMV where we are seeing, certain reflection of numbers. And then, do schools divert from their school to the pantry itself? I guess, what do you mean by that, Shannon?
Yeah, so whether there's a share table or if the schools provide any excess materials at the end of the day, like clearly they have the opportunity to divert it other ways, but if there is an opportunity, do they connect with the in-school food pantry in any way, shape, or form? Or is it completely independent and there's no there's no cohesiveness whatsoever?
So again, Ramona's pantry is outside and portable, but other pantries are actually in the school. It's still part of the school. So we don't run it. We just kind of provide the materials, and the schools run it and they communicate that to their families. That we've been asked before by schools, hey, somebody wants to donate, something else, is that fine? That's totally fine. We're not proprietary in that sense. As far as breakfast or lunch provisions, schools would determine that on their own. If they had extra breakfast and lunch and they wanted to store it with the pantry items, that's fine on our end to do so. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess I was just hoping to, and maybe someone else on the call who works in the schools themselves. Hi, Henry. And maybe because I'm trying to figure out if there's opportunities to do the connections as I talk with the different school systems in that way. That's where my brain's looking at this.
So can I add a little also? We not only have the food pantry, we are like a one-stop shop. So we also encourage our families to bring in gently used clothes, and our teachers to bring in gently used clothes or plates or anything that can be, picked up by another family in need. So we have diapers, like we still have toothbrushes, we have toothpaste that they have given to us. So it is a mini one-stop shop supermarket per se, where parents can come with dignity and secure whatever it is that they need.
So I'll add, I know that MCPS does have a separate initiative to gather food in schools. And I know that there were some sites that were awarded grants to give them coolers to store items. Most MCPS sites that I'm aware of have a shared table during lunch. So a lot of that food is already going during the lunch periods. But for them to be able to connect with a pantry, the pantry would have to have a refrigerator. And especially because most of the items that are getting put on shared tables are not shelf stable items. So, they're perishable, they'd have to go. And then also keeping in mind that the pantries are not always open on a daily basis. So, obviously there would be concerns even if there was a refrigerator for how long something would be able to be left there. But Shannon, I think that's a good question for us to look into, is that how is MCPS's environmental group, are they coordinating with the pantries at all? So we can certainly follow up on that.
Yeah, and just to give like an example, like sometimes the breakfasts that are provided can, like, I'm going to give like one specific example, like craisins might be provided in a package. Those certainly are shelf stable and could be easily, connected. And if they go home, they become something more that the child would see at a more regular basis and wouldn't be something they may be as adverse to within the school system itself.
Yeah. And we'll touch base with MCPS because some of those have like the breakfast program has different restrictions than the lunch program as to what has to go back to the cafeteria. I know MCPS has certain things that they will donate, at certain points through food and nutrition services, some things that might be able to be reserved. So we can touch base on all of that.
Thanks, Anne Marie, for explaining that. And I'm sorry, Shannon, that I just wasn't totally picking up on your question there. But yeah, we're not proprietary. If the pantry space and storage and whatnot can be used for anything else to help the families, that is totally fine on our end. Sorry, catching up the questions here. Yes, so sorry, Jaira, that you had that background noise. We are all in office today. Thank you all for understanding. We have a full office. I'm so glad you all could hear still. So we have a full pod. Everyone's here today. Kenya, you said your colleague was just speaking about creating something like this. Again, we are, here to help and to provide suggestions if needed. Again, Ramona has been running this. She's amazing. Will this be affected by the plastic bag ban? I will say that we here at the food bank have not heard anything about that. As far as us sending plastic bags to our sites, until we are told not to, as we have them available, we will send them. Data duplicated or unduplicated. So the intake for family markets last year, that was all anonymous. So it is duplicated. You may have the same 200 families go to a school every month. You may have 200 families reported going throughout the year, but it's a different 200 every month. Okay. And yeah, I'm so sorry. And now I apologize. I'm taking up so much time here all, but I think that we are all good.
Yep, I think so. Thank you guys so much for presenting to our group. And if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can pass them along to the Capital Area Food Bank team. We are going to have Priya Narang up next from Manna Food Center. She is the school-based programs manager. Are you ready, Priya?
Yes, thank you so much, Heaven, and thank you to everybody on the call for joining and letting me speak to you a little bit about Manna Food Center and our school-based programs. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen so you can see a couple slides as well that we have today. But you may have heard of Manna Food Center as an organization that supports Montgomery County in a few ways. And we do this by sharing food and educating folks in the county specifically on food education, as well as advocacy. And before I go any further, can you see my slides?
Yep, looks great.
Okay, awesome. So one thing that is a little bit lesser known when people may hear Manna, aside from our Food for Families program, is our school-based programs, that they are robust. We do have 3 school-based programs, and they are in many schools over the county. So we have one that is on a weekly basis and 2 that are monthly, in addition to a partnership with Red Wiggler Community Farm, which I'll be sharing, which I won't be sharing about today, but I'll share about our other main 3 programs. So in our school-based programs, the first one I want to talk about is our weekend bag program. So hopefully this will transition. And this one helps to support students and their families. And that clarification, I think, is important because earlier when we had started this program more than 15 years ago, that bag was really focused on the student. It was maybe more single serve items. It might have had a granola bar or something that was really one person. But now we're able to include items in this bag and really make the bag focused on the family and the student. We know childhood hunger is also household hunger. And so that is definitely something we are mindful of. These non-perishable goods that go home include things like grains, proteins, fruits, vegetables. We're able to sometimes also include milk, shelf-stable milk, oatmeal packets, things like that. And so this
Priya,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can't see the slides aren't progressing.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me stop sharing and try to share again.
Okay.
I'm definitely more of a Teams person at Manna, so I apologize.
You may be sharing the wrong presentation mode.
Okay, let me try again. So I'll just share this whole screen, so maybe this will work. How about now?
Perfect. Yep, looks great.
So yeah, for this partnership, we work with Montgomery County Public Schools, but we also work with multiple community groups so that they are really the ones that make these logistics possible. This is a program where we are able to pair that 1 or 2 schools with a community group, like a faith-based organization, a high school group, a corporate group, an individual who really volunteers to pick up the food from our Manna warehouse in Gaithersburg, pack that food into the individual bags. In addition to any nutrition education resources we have, we also get to include things like our Food for Families program, SNAP outreach, and they deliver those bags to the school. So who the school decides to give the bags to is really up to them, whether that's a family who receives free and reduced meals, whether it's a family that they know is in need. We do not dictate any eligibility around that, but that is on the school's end to, once they receive the food, to distribute and identify those families. And the main advantage of this program, I would say, is the convenience. And so it's really, you know, in most cases, students who are taking this bag home, and because of having a longer, you know, shelf life with non-perishable goods, and because of that convenience where there's no transportation barriers, that is something that without fail goes home on a weekly basis. So it's something that are pantry staples that families can have. Our next program is our school-based pantries. This program is definitely more of a produce-focused program. So we are doing this program monthly at 7 schools, and we're going to expand to an 8th school this school year. And we started with 2 schools back in 2018 when we piloted the program. You know, when COVID happened, we weren't able to be at schools, so this program wasn't running. But directly after that, we added our 3rd school. And the following year, this past school year, actually, we had doubled the program to go from 3 to 6, and just added our 7th school this month. So, you know, in the next couple of months, we'll be adding an 8th school. And this program, as you can see from some of the pictures, has also on the schools, and they are the ones distributing the food, but this is where Manna purchases the produce. And we also work with local farms through our Farm to Food Bank program in order to get seasonal produce items, eggs, awesome resources that families can take home. This is a choice model, so it's monthly at the school where families can come pick up and choose what they'd like. There's at least 10 to 12 produce items at all of our sites, and then most sites except one will have shelf-stable items as well. The more popular items like cooking oil, masa, beans, rice, pasta, things like that. Cereal or oat milk also, is one. But other than that, we have a pretty strong produce focus. And this is, I think, the main advantage would be that flexibility and increased choice and produce, which I think a lot of folks want. In addition to this program, what we are also able to offer in addition to food is education. So I'll get to that actually in the next slide, but before that I have a few pictures. These are from 3 of our partnered schools, Harmony Hills Elementary, Highland, and Rolling Terrace. And as you can see in like the top right corner, we have that cooking oil, the rice. We have lots of produce that changes based off of the year and what's available, and also culturally relevant items. So we are able to provide plantains and yuca and awesome items that families request from us that are more relevant to their cooking, and also staples that they ask for regularly, like onions, peppers, a starchy vegetable, certain fruits that are always asked for. Next is these pantries, and I say at pantries, but really education is worked into all of our programs. Based off of our most recent survey of our participating families, we found that SNAP outreach is really big in one of the things that they want to learn about. Almost 50% of our respondents mentioned wanting help with SNAP. We also found that recipes and sampling of those recipes is really the families are really interested in that. And we do have a community food education team at Manna. You may have seen them in our mobile kitchen, driving around and teaching cooking classes to youth, but they also are able to provide sampling at our school pantries that are aligning with the food we give and the recipes we sent. For example, this month at our pantry at Rolling Terrace yesterday and Kent Mill yesterday, we had apples as a featured item that we got from farms. Our recipe was an apple crisp, and so something like that would be able to be sampled at a pantry. And the SNAP outreach, I'll say we haven't actually done before, so I don't have a picture of that, but we're planning to.
Priya, we lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I'm not sure where I left off.
You had just started about SNAP enrollment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so SNAP is brand new this year in terms of having it at the pantries. So we're coordinating schedules with our coordinators who are on staff at Manna to make sure that's a resource we can offer. And they will help apply over the phone with folks. It's in English and Spanish. Lastly is one of our newest programs that started at the end of last school year. So you've seen one non-perishable program that goes out weekly, one focused produce program that comes monthly. And this is also a monthly program, but in my opinion has the most flexibility and increased choice as we kind of go down the program list. So this program came out of listening sessions that we had with families in which they mentioned, our question was, how can Manna improve school programs? What are you looking for? And one of the suggestions was a grocery gift card pilot. And so we said, let's try it. And so we started with 2 schools, which were Galway Elementary and Cannon Road Elementary last year. And we are providing $30, a giant gift card each month to each student who attends that school. And that would be a program that we just expanded to add 2 more schools starting this month, and we'll hopefully add a couple more students, so maybe potentially another school or increase student numbers at these schools. And so this is one that, due to allergies, due to choice, due to wants, needs, you might have a hard time with something that is at a school site that is an actual food item. But if you're able to choose, while you're on your grocery trip, this might be more flexible and convenient for you. We do also make sure currently that all of the schools we work with for this program are close to a giant, since it is a giant gift.
Sorry, Priya, we lost you again. Close to a giant.
to a giant, but at this time it is giant gift cards that we are providing. And yeah, so this one will be, I think, interesting as well to figure out how we work education.
Lost you again.
I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what's happening.
You're back, so maybe it's okay.
Okay. But yeah, we're providing welcome folders to all of our students and families who are just starting the program. So they have information about Manna Food Center, our other distributions across the county. They have information about recipes that we have and we provide online on our website. They also receive information about the SNAP outreach that we do at the other sites and via the weekend bag inserts. So we're trying to make sure that's kind of a common thread that's throughout all of our programming. I know from my background in food corps in DC public schools, food education is huge. Food distribution is also huge, and I think they go really hand in hand. So I'm so glad that we're able to provide these additional services as well. And that's the end of my slides, but if there's any questions that anybody has, I'm happy to answer either if there's something in the chat that I haven't seen, or if you want to say it out loud.
Any questions, folks?
Do any partnerships in PG County or similar organizations that do?
Yeah, so unfortunately right now we do not, because Manna Food Center is serving Montgomery County only at this time. We are the designated food bank of Montgomery County, but I have heard talks since I've started about PG County and expanding to Prince George's County. So who knows, maybe in the future, but right now it's all Montgomery County focused.
Any additional questions? All right, I think you're off the hook, Priya. Thank you so much for sharing with our group.
Thank you so much for having me. I apologize for any technology issues.
Perfect. Sorry, now my audio is messing up. Hold on. Okay. So, can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. I just can't hear you. So, well, we were gonna have a last speaker. However, she had an appointment. Her name is Kristen Bouquet from Berwyn Heights Elementary School. And she is the parent engagement specialist or assistant there. So if you have our agenda up, you can see a video that she allowed me to share, and it kind of just goes out pictures of their food distribution efforts last year, and she's continuing it this year. Berwyn Heights Elementary School works closely with us with our food rescue program. So they often receive food from farms like Claggett Farm and other farms in Prince George's County that may have surplus food. And then also they receive freshly baked goods from Casablanca Bakery, and they distribute that to their families at the schools. And she really depends on the parents there to do things like help pick up that food and help distribute and organize that food for the students, and they really enjoy it. So if you are looking for something heartwarming, take a peek at that video. And now I'm going to pass it over to Anne Marie, who will provide some updates.
Great, thanks. I just wanted to share, just to kind of round out the conversation a little more for those of you where this space might be new. At least in Montgomery County, and I know it's happening in Prince George's County as well, we have a number of schools in the school system that are defined as community schools. And these are determined by the Maryland State Department of Education. It's all through the education, what's called the blueprint. And it affects many things coming down to schools, but one of it is focusing on areas of high need, communities with schools with high need. And the we've been doing a lot of coordination in Montgomery County to connect community schools to food assistance resources. And the reason why that is so successful is I think exemplified by Ramona, a community school liaison. It's having that staff, extra staff at the school that is able to really take on this work, to reach out directly to the community and identify their needs. And many schools just unfortunately don't have the resources to do that. And it's one of the things that make community schools unique. So that's why that's been a big starting point in Montgomery County. And I do want to thank, because some of the work that we've been doing at the Food Council is working really closely with Kate, with Zara, with Priya, to coordinate what's happening at school sites, because we know that there is very high need across the county for food assistance resources. But unfortunately, providers only have so many resources to serve. And so we're really trying to do our best to make sure that everyone is connected in some way, that we're minimizing duplications, and we're really trying to get people connected. I did also want to point out that from the Food Council staff, we do have a SNAP team. Two of the members are on this call, Allison Schnitzer and Elizabeth Tuin. And they work very closely with the pantries at community schools to enroll families that are eligible in SNAP. MCPS has been, community schools have been very supportive about hanging signage in their pantries to make families aware of SNAP benefits, to try to decrease the stigma about applying, to address fears about public charge. And so that's one of the wonderful things that that pantry space provides as well, is forming relationships with families, getting them comfortable with the idea of applying. And so, and we know that that really is one of the best ways to meet a family's need, is to get them connected to the benefits that they are, that they may be entitled to receive. So I just wanted to be sure to share that. Allison did just share a link in the chat to refer families. This is only for Montgomery County residents, and that is not us being rigid. That is just because Montgomery County, the Food Council is only approved by the state to be enrolling residents of Montgomery County in SNAP. So I just wanted to be sure to mention that. If you are a food assistance provider on this call in Montgomery County and you are supporting a school and you and I have not yet been in touch, please reach out to me and let me know, because we'd like to make sure that we add what you are doing where on our spreadsheet that we've been trying to keep as up to date as possible. So again, as schools reach out, sometimes what happens is we have a lot of different people at a school all trying to reach out for food assistance resources, and they may not even know some of the resources that are already being provided at their site. So we want to make sure that you're also connected internally with what is going on, either at your site or nearby, to make sure that families are taking advantage of those resources. Thank you. I'll stop talking now.
Thanks, Anne Marie. And if you all are looking for SNAP outreach resources, I can connect you all to some organizations that do that in Prince George's County. Yeah, Ramona, Anne Marie wants to be, okay. And then I also wanted to open the floor up for community announcements. So if anyone has any community announcements, feel free to share those with the group. I wanted to share FEC is turning 10, so I just wanted to share that with you all. And if you all are interested in joining us on October 24th from 4:30 to 6, feel free to register or RSVP here, and I'm dropping the link in the chat. And any other community announcements from the group? Carla Cash, I see your hand is raised.
I just wanted to let everybody know, if you have any children, there are several trunk or treat events going on from October the 26th through up to Halloween at the different various police departments. So I'll send that to Julia and Heaven to send out, so that the kids will have a place to go. And they have the Prince George's County FOP Lodge is having a movie night, Halloween movie night that Friday.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Daniela?
Oh, yes. Hola. I just wanted to share that maybe it's of interest of some people of the group that there is a International Food Forest Summit in DC happening also next week. I'm not sure if that was mentioned. It's called, I'll just put the chat in the link. It's organized by the FAO, and I know that's not directly related to this, but some of us are striving to generate more food through food forests. So I put it here on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, and then we have some resources available. Our next call will be November 2nd between 1 and 2 p.m. back to our normal time and schedule. And then some resources available for you all in the agenda. I did want to point, before we wrap up, I just wanted to point to a few things on the agenda, some resources. So this may be of interest to some folks on the call, but on October 11th, the Farm to School program network, they will be having a webinar titled Envisioning Farmer-Focused Local Food Purchasing Incentives from 2 to 3 p.m. And that information and agenda is linked in the agenda. And then I also wanted to share with everyone that additional fruit and vegetable benefits are now available for WIC participants through November 30th. So more details can be found in this little blurb. And then two more things. So there's an upcoming cold storage best practices webinar, Keeping It Cool School, related to schools. And that will be also October 11th from 12 to 1, and the registration is linked there. And the cold storage grant is also available to folks who are interested in applying. There are also some more goodies, but I'm not going to go through those, but I just wanted to highlight those pieces. And I think that's it. We are ending a little bit early. And thank you all for having us and spending an hour with you all today. With us today. Have a great one and hope to see you all at our next call in November. Bye.